field rations. Everybody loves food, and in this film we're going to be talking about the barely edible food of the French Army Reserve rations during the Great War. Now, to talk about French Army Reserve rations seen specifically during the Great War, these composed of non-perishable provisions issued in a field package, which was generally either paper wrapping or canvas cloth. And these field packages were then placed in a standard French Army green tin seen here. This is an original Great War French Army Reserve ration tin. As you can see, it is a bit rusted out, however, the inside is clean and the lid still works, so this is where I do place my reproduction reserve rations. And French Army Reserve rations were placed in these tins basically throughout the entire war. What we will talk about in this film is what the reserve rations consisted of, and the general details of the tin itself and where it is placed on the soldier, and last but not least, a taste test of some of the rations I have inside of this tin. So regarding the Great War French Army Reserve ration tin specifically, we'll take a look at my original right here. So, as stated before, it is in standard French Army green, and it is a metallic tin. It doesn't really have that much of a shine to it. It's a nice matte green, however, it is over 100 years old, so the actual consistency of the paint may have been a little bit different. So you can see here, you can see the paint fading off here, and then the actual tin is clearly seen. Here's the underside of the tin, and the top side. And in terms of any markings, there is a stamped marking on the tin here. It is the letter A inside of a hexagon. See if I can get a good picture of that. Hopefully it shows up on the film. But it is right there. Once again, it is a letter A, all caps, in a hexagon. And regarding the reserve ration tin lid and how to open it, as we can see here, the lid is held in place by tension on these two contacts, and to open it you would push on these two contacts to push them in, and then lift up and the lid would open. And here is the Great War French Army Reserve ration tin opened. As you can see, they did not paint the inside of the tin. On the inside itself is my rations, which we will discuss shortly. And just a small note, what is really interesting to me is how similar the reserve ration tin is to the gas mask tin of the M2 gas mask. They're very close in terms of dimensions and make. We can even see the seams on the tin for both models. That's just been really interesting to me about how similar they are in design. Just two rectangular bits of tin. Now regarding dimensions, it looks like the total height is around 23.5 centimeters. The long side width looks like roughly 12.5 centimeters. And mind you, this is all rounded. It's all curved. This is not a sharp edge tin. So the measurements are little rough estimates. So once again, this looks like 12.5 centimeters. Width on this side looks like... This looks like 6.5 centimeters. The underside. Now this side, this length here, looks like, once again, looks like roughly 6.5 centimeters. And we'll do long ways here. Long ways looks about to be 13 centimeters. So tin circumference looks like 38.5 centimeters. And we'll do circumference long ways. Now circumference of the tin long ways looks like 59.5 centimeters. So there you have the general dimensions of an original Great War French Army Reserve ration tin. So this is my Great War French Army pack, packed towards my liking, plus some regulation standards thrown in. And of course, as I said before, the reserve ration tin fits at the bottom of the pack. And this is generally how I like packing my pack. What we're looking at here is my French Army Reserve ration tin placed at the bottom of the pack. Behind all of this is one regulation undershirt. Then I have 3 brushes. I have my clothing brush, my double-sided boot brush, and then my weapon brush. Over these I have my towel with soap, a handkerchief, I have my toothbrush, and inside of here is my shaving kit plus tooth powder. And to top it all off, I complete the inside of my pack with my additional weapon cleaning kit. It goes over the top of my reserve ration tin. And then we just close it all up per the standard. Once again, the reserve ration tin is placed along the bottom of the pack. Alright, so now we know what this is, what the dimensions are, and where it was placed on the French soldier. Now let's learn a little bit about what was inside this reserve ration tin. The reserve ration tin of the French Army during the Great War generally consisted of 10 to 12 hardtack biscuits, either in paper wrapping or canvas sacks, 1 double canvas bag of sugar and coffee, 2 cans of preserved meat, and 2 cans of condensed soup. The full list of rations that can be placed inside the reserve ration tin is as follows. As I stated before, 10 to 12 hardtack biscuits. The weight of this was about 500 grams, and the packaging was in the cloth baggie or paper wrapping. Up next is 2 cans of preserved meat, either in seasoned pork or corned beef, weighing at around 300 grams, and these 2 rations can be replaced by 1 can of pork and beef, and this one weighed 500 grams and was to be shared by 2 men. Up next is condensed soup, weighing at around 50 grams, and this was either canned or in a dehydrated tablet. Next we have roasted coffee, either in bars or beans, and this weighed at around 36 grams. And then we also have the sugar, weighing at around 80 grams, and both of these would be placed on each side of the double canvas baggie. Up next we have chocolate, weighing at around 125 grams, and these were issued 2 bars per tin. Now up next is some special rations that may or may not have been issued within the reserve ration tin and given elsewhere. Starting off, we have tobacco, which was usually distributed in packets of 40 grams or 100 grams, and brandy or rum, distributed in 20 ounces in a flask carried by the NCO. Now a little bit more on the 2 cans of preserved meat. Once again, they were in seasoned pork or corned beef, and both were nicknamed Monkey, which is a nod to monkey meat or mystery meat, as by most accounts they tasted pretty awful. Now they were noted to be stringy and heavily salted, which is a huge issue when you take into account how difficult it was for France to obtain clean drinking water throughout the whole war. And because of this, we actually see memoirs of soldiers writing about why they're being issued such salty provisions when they know how hard clean drinking water is to obtain. Now let's talk a little bit about the infamous hardtack biscuit. This recipe for a hardtack biscuit has been around since the 1500s, as it is an effective, non-perishable provision. And such, they have been used as a reserve ration within militaries for hundreds of years. And essentially they are extremely solid biscuits that are inexpensive and long-lasting. And what you would do is you dip them in water to essentially activate them to be able to eat. because they were so solid that one would have to keep them soaked in water to eat, or you'd have to break them apart with your rifle butt. And because it was quite tasteless, soldiers tended to dip them in things like coffee or rum or brandy. One popular recipe using hardtack invented by the Poilu was called sweet fried hardtack. The recipe called to soak the hardtack in water or condensed milk to the point that they swell up, removing the hardtack from that liquid as to not break them, and then draining the hardtack completely. Then they would deep fry the hardtack in grease, removing them from the grease, then sprinkling them with sugar and rum, or things like cherry brandy, and then it would be served warm. And this would produce, as the name suggests, sweet fried hardtack. Now the next ration I will talk about is chocolate. By October 26, 1914, chocolate was issued to each man daily in its own specialty tin. Now what was actually in the tin was either 30 grams of chocolate bars or 15 grams of cocoa powder. Now when were soldiers actually instructed to eat from their reserve ration tin? These rations were only allowed to be eaten during emergency situations or on order, and this was usually when daily rations could not be supplied due to operational conditions. So this really means anywhere the daily ration could not be issued, for example, active frontline positions. Now in regards to the aspiring French Army reenactor, at the time of filming there is 0 reproductions of this French Army reserve ration tin. So I suggest you search around and buy an original. The reason I recommend an original is, of course, there's no reproductions, as well as it's tin and it is quite durable, and this is generally an item that does not get damaged as you use it. And of course, before you buy an original, make sure they show you the inside so you know that the inside is not rotted, and you can place actual reserve rations inside your reserve ration tin. Now, in terms of the aspiring Great War French tank crewman impressionist, I also recommend an original French Army reserve ration tin. As once again, no reproductions, it's quite durable, this is not an item that tends to get damaged when you use it, so 100% original recommended. So the moment you've all been waiting for, the taste test. So what I have inside my reserve ration tin is the 2 chocolate bars, the double baggie of coffee and sugar, as well as the 12 hardtack biscuits in their paper wrapping. And just while it's empty, this is the inside of the reserve ration tin. Note the seam there on the folded tin. So what I will do is I will eat 1 square of the hardtack, as well as 1 block of the chocolate, and I'll give you my live taste reaction. Alright, so starting off with the hardtack biscuit. I'm going to go ahead and open the wrapper. Here's the infamous hardtack. Yeah, definitely quite solid. Wow, it's like actually like really solid. It smells like oatmeal, really. Now remember, to actually activate a hardtack, it needs to be dipped in some sort of liquid to let the water soak into it and make it actually edible. So I have here my standard issue drinking cup. This is a reproduction of the original, seen here. See here? And unlike my original mess cup, this one is actually safe to drink from. So I'm going to let it soak in the water as such, and while we're waiting for it to soak, I will open up one of the chocolates and take a bar out. Here is the chocolate. Alright. And I got 1 block of chocolate. And really, as we wait for the hardtack to activate, I'm going to go ahead and eat the chocolate and give you my reaction. It's pretty good. That's really good. I like that. It is kind of like that bitter dark chocolate. Pretty brittle, but really good. Yeah, I'd be if I was issued this in my reserve ration tin, I'd be pretty happy. Let's test this. Still solid as a rock. I'm gonna take another one. I like the chocolate. The chocolate's pretty good. I'm gonna give that a certified yummy. I wish I could say the hardtack was as good as the chocolate. That's pretty brutal. That is like really, that's really bad. I don't like that. The hardtack is pretty nasty. It's like salty oatmeal. It's no good. Very icky. However, it is getting to the point where it is edible. So if this is all you had, I mean, you gotta eat something, right? And this is the emergency ration anyways, so... That's nasty. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. I wish I could say not great, not terrible, but... no. No. I can see why the Poilu would attempt to, sweeten this up, because it is really just bitter, salty oatmeal, essentially. That's what I'm getting from it. But you gotta eat, you gotta eat. Very icky. And inside the water, I can see the hardtack falling apart, which is kind of what the soldiers tended to like, as then they can just drink it up in their coffee, for example. I imagine this is what wood would taste like. So with the chocolate reserve rations as a 10 out of 10 in my book, using the 10 out of 10 chocolate rations as a base, I would rate the hardtack biscuit, I would say a 3. The plain hardtack biscuit is a 3 out of 10. Now I'm sure if it was cooked in that sweet fried hardtack fashion, I assume that would be better, but the plain hardtack as it stands is a 3 out of 10. And in terms of texture, I guess that depends on how long it stays in the water to soak. Mine right now is kind of like a chip, kind of brittle and dry. But yeah, that's bitter saltiness kind of ruins it. I'm glad this is the emergency ration because I do not want to be eating this daily. And mind you, this is just water, so I'm adding 0 extra flavor to the hardtack. Right, well, This has been a Tankiste from the 501st, wishing you good luck and good fortune on your Great War French impressions.